Let me tell you something right from the start. If you ever think you know your family, you don't. You think you do, but that's because you've been hypnotized by holiday dinners, birthday cakes, and those fake "we're all happy" group photos where everyone's smiling through gritted teeth. That's how they get you. First they feed you turkey at Thanksgiving, then they sleep with your wife for dessert. Oh yeah, I'm not kidding. You want to talk about betrayal? Try walking into your garage one night looking for duct tape and instead finding your wife and your own brother arguing in whispers like they're in some low-budget spy movie. And then, mid-argument, he says, he can't know. Not after all these years. Years. Not months. Not weeks. Years. I froze in the doorway like I'd just stumbled into a deleted scene from a soap opera, only this one was called The Days of My Screwed-Up Life. But let me back up. You see, from the outside, we were the kind of family that made neighbors jealous. I married my high school sweetheart, Emily, the girl every guy wanted but only I got, which was apparently just on a temporary basis. My brother Jake, handsome, charming, the type who could talk his way out of a speeding ticket while holding a beer. He was the cool uncle to my kids, the guy who showed up to backyard BBQs in mirrored sunglasses, flipping burgers like he was auditioning for a reality cooking show. We did everything together. Football on Sundays, camping trips, Christmas tree shopping. Our parents used to say, "You two stick together, no matter what." Yeah, well, turns out, no matter what, included him sticking himself to my wife. At first, the signs were small, the kind you'd laugh off if you weren't a paranoid lunatic, or in my case, not paranoid enough. Like how they'd laugh at jokes I didn't hear, or how he'd just happened to stop by when I was at work. There was this one time I came home early and found them sitting way too close on the couch watching some cooking show neither of them had ever cared about before. "We were just flipping channels," she said, but I could see it in her eyes, that guilty little flicker you can't hide no matter how good you think you are at lying. And Jake? He just smirked, like he'd just pulled off some great magic trick. But you want to know the real kicker? I actually thought I was lucky. I thought, wow, my brother really loves my family. He's always here helping out, fixing things, making us laugh. Little did I know he was helping out in more ways than one. That's toxic love for you. Looks sweet from the outside, but inside it's pure rot. The thing is, I'm not an idiot. I might play the happy suburban husband, but I've got instincts, and they started buzzing like a cheap motel neon sign. So I started watching them. Not in a creepy binoculars from the bushes way, at least not at first, more like a scientist studying two rare animals that don't know they're being observed. I noticed the glances, the accidental touches, the inside jokes that weren't mine. Every little detail stacked up until it was like trying to balance a house of cards in a hurricane. And then came the garage moment, the whisper fight. The "he can't know" line that might as well have been a confession signed in blood. I didn't confront them, not yet. See, that's where most people screw up. They explode right away, scream, throw things, maybe punch a wall. But me? I smiled. I walked away. Because right then a new feeling replaced the hurt. Revenge. Cold, calculated revenge. If they'd been playing me for years, I wasn't about to give them the satisfaction of a quick fight. No, I was going to make this a slow burn. The kind of payback you can smell cooking from miles away. The kind that leaves nothing but ashes when it's done. That's the thing about family. They know exactly how to hurt you. But if you're smart, you learn exactly how to hurt them back. And me? Oh, I was about to go from husband to executioner in the story of my own life. You know that moment in every conspiracy movie when the hero finally connects all the red strings on the corkboard? That was me, except my red strings were screenshots, credit card statements, and a suspicious receipt for a motel 2 towns over. It was like Jake and Emily weren't even trying to hide it anymore. Maybe they thought I was too dumb, too family loyal to see the truth. Joke's on them. I've been binge-watching crime documentaries for years, and if Netflix taught me anything, it's that the quiet ones are always the most dangerous. The night after the garage incident, I sat in my office with a 6-pack of cheap beer and my laptop. I went full private investigator, installed a tracking app on Emily's phone while she was in the shower, slipped a GPS tracker under Jake's truck. Checked his business bank records. Don't ask how I got access. Let's just say family trust works both ways when you know the passwords from helping him set up his email years ago. Every breadcrumb led to another, until the picture was crystal clear. This wasn't some fling. This was a full-on, long-term cheating operation, like a toxic love pyramid scheme where I was the only one not cashing in. And here's the kicker. They started right after our honeymoon. While I was busy working double shifts to pay for our first house, Jake was busy helping Emily settle in. Yeah, settle into my bed. Now, I could have confronted them, sure, but where's the fun in that? No, I wanted this to be Shakespearean. I wanted betrayal to meet its dramatic, public, soul-crushing end. I started small. First, I withdrew a chunk of our joint savings without telling Emily. Put it in an account only I had access to. Then I started poking around Jake's business. He runs a small construction company, the kind that relies heavily on reputation. I discovered a few creative accounting choices that, if sent to the right people, would look a lot like fraud. And just to spice things up, I made a few anonymous calls to the city inspector about some safety concerns at his job sites. Oh, and I might have hinted to one of his biggest clients that he was dealing with some personal distractions. What? I was just being a concerned family member. Meanwhile, Emily kept acting like everything was fine. She'd kiss me goodnight, post family selfies on Facebook, and text Jake under the table. I swear, the level of audacity was Oscar-worthy. She'd even complained to me about Jake's love life like I was her best girlfriend, while her phone was literally buzzing in her pocket with his messages. The more I watched them, the more I realized this wasn't just cheating, it was an entire theater production. They had roles, scripts, even rehearsals. And me, I was the idiot in the front row clapping along. That's when I decided Act 3 needed a plot twist they'd never see coming. I printed every text, every photo, every bank transaction. I put them in a manila envelope labeled Family History and kept it in my desk drawer. And then I started making friends, his clients, his suppliers, even his landlord. You'd be amazed how chatty people get when you buy them a few beers and casually mention you're concerned about Jake's priorities. Within weeks, the cracks started to show. He was losing bids on contracts. Emily was stressing over mystery money missing from our accounts. But I stayed calm, played the doting husband, the supportive brother. Because in every great revenge story, timing is everything. And my timing? Oh, it was going to be biblical. The night before I planned to go nuclear, I sat on the porch, sipping whiskey, watching the sunset over our perfect little American suburb. Birds chirped, kids rode bikes, sprinklers clicked on. And I thought, tomorrow, this whole picture-perfect postcard burns to the ground. They'd spent years building this house of lies, and I was about to be the hurricane that tore the roof off. Betrayal is like a loaded gun. You can either let it shoot you, or you can turn it around and fire back. Me? I was about to pull the trigger. They say revenge is best served cold, but I like mine sizzling, with a side of public humiliation and a sprinkle of career destruction. The morning of D-Day, I woke up early, made myself pancakes, and whistled while brewing coffee. Emily shuffled into the kitchen wearing my hoodie like nothing in the world was wrong, kissed my cheek, and asked if I could pick up milk later. Oh, sure, honey, right after I detonate your entire secret life. My plan started with a little social media magic. I uploaded a photo album on Facebook titled Family Memories. The first few pictures were wholesome: BBQs, Christmas mornings, camping trips. Then, like a slow fade into a horror film, came the screenshots. Texts between Emily and Jake. Photos from that motel, a candid of them holding hands in his truck, and under each picture I wrote captions dripping with sarcasm, helping my wife feel at home. Teamwork makes the dream work. Family bonding time. Within minutes, the comments exploded. High school friends, neighbors, distant cousins, they all jumped in like it was the season finale of a reality show they'd been following for years without knowing it. People tagged each other, shared the post, added their own theories. One lady even posted a gif of popcorn. But I wasn't done. I had a manila envelope ready for Jake's biggest client, containing proof of his shady accounting practices, a few anonymous complaints about his work, and, just for flavor, the same motel receipt, circled in red. I sent copies to his landlord, the city inspector, and a few local business forums. Within hours, Jake's phone was probably hotter than a stolen car. Emily was pacing the kitchen, phone in hand, eyes wide, whispering to someone. I didn't need to guess who. I just sipped my coffee like I was watching the Weather Channel. "Babe, what's going on?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Oh, I don't know," I said. "Maybe you should ask my brother." That's when the doorbell rang. It was Jake. He looked like he'd aged 10 years overnight. Hair messy, eyes bloodshot, wearing a shirt that probably hadn't been washed since the last time he told me I could trust him with anything. I invited him in, because if we're going to burn the house down, might as well let everyone watch the fireworks. "What did you do?" he hissed. I smiled. "What did I do?" "Oh, Jake." "I just told the truth, and apparently the truth is bad for business," he begged. Emily cried. I think at one point they both tried to convince me it just happened and wasn't serious. I laughed so hard I nearly spilled my coffee. "Not serious? You've been running the longest con in suburban history. This isn't a fling, it's a Netflix miniseries with too many seasons." By afternoon, Jake's biggest client had pulled out. The city inspector shut down 2 of his sites. Emily's friends unfriended her in droves. My Facebook post had been shared over 300 times, and someone even made a meme about them. Jake's face photoshopped onto a raccoon stealing garbage. The best part? The local gossip Facebook group, Maplewood Moms and More, was in full meltdown mode, debating whether Emily or Jake was worse and organizing a boycott of his company. By the end of the week, Jake was broke. Emily had nowhere to go. Her parents wouldn't take her, her friends ghosted her, and she couldn't touch the money I'd pulled from our accounts. They sold their stuff, packed what was left into Jake's rusted pickup, and drove out of town like fugitives from a bad Lifetime movie. I stood on the porch, coffee in hand, watching their truck disappear down the street. It wasn't joy I felt, it was peace. A quiet, satisfying kind of peace that comes from knowing you didn't just survive betrayal, you turned it into a cautionary tale the whole town will remember. The thing about family is, they're supposed to have your back, but if they decide to stab it instead, well, sometimes you've got to return the favor. And me? I made sure my revenge was the kind you can't recover from. Not financially, not publicly, not ever.